All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rachakodash, the honest apostles and elders of Great Brimstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. All right, I'm the brother Shaman from the St. Louis branch of Great Millstone. And I just wanted to answer a question that I often see online. One of the top questions people ask you is, look, well, if these Edomites are so wicked as you say they are, why did they release you from slavery? Why didn't they just keep us from slavery? And that's a very good question, but when you look in history, all right, because so-called Native Americans, so-called blacks, and so-called Latino people, through the lineage of their father, our people go back to the Israelites. And when you read the Bible, one thing you notice is one of the punishments is captivity. All right, the Lord set us up to be a royal people. He set us to be rulers. But then when we went away from His laws, His statutes, and His commandments, then we were punished and we were put in captivity under other nations. All right, and in the past, it was more like an indentured servitude type of situation. With other nations, putting themselves on top and trying to destroy us and make us slaves, but they still allowed us to keep semblance of our heritage and know who we were, know who our fathers were, so forth and so on. And this is all part of the Most High's movie. Us, on the basically going through these different captivities. Coming back on this earth. Trying to understand the things that the Most High has set up. And when you look at the different poems and the different psalms, basically that's what it is. People, Israelites identifying the the ins and the outs, basically, and putting them for all men to see and for all men to learn and to understand. And it's a beautiful thing. All right. And this is a quick article. Because with all this controversy and this bullshit comes out, how they're trying to demonize, they're trying to basically everything that the elders from the elders on down, everything that's being said about what they would do, what the media would do once they got a hold of us, once they started to come with angles, you can look and see in there what's going on in the house of Esau. The big thing on the table right now is impeachment. So they're coming with all guns drawn, so to speak. All right, including trying to demonize you in the media, because the media, that's one of the parts of the sword of Esau. That's one of the ways his lying lips can get throughout the earth. All right. And all going back to the question I mentioned, why did Esau release us from slavery? Well, that's another part of why. All right, this is Job 9:24, and this is a foundational scripture for Israelites. All right, this is prophecy by Job. He said, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Exactly. And when you look at all of the different people who were set up, all these different countries, you had certain things that were destroyed. We might destroy idols or so on and so forth, but we're not destroying other people's images and putting our images up as their images. That's just not something that Jake is going to do. Unless they're under a heavy vibration of Esau. Esau, on the other hand, they've been known for doing that. And when you go to these different museums around the nation, they have all of these different, they'll have, because brothers go to them, and they'll have all these different things set up for you to see. And then some of them are kind of dog whistles, because they'll have Jake, they'll have something that Israel created, in the midst of other things to throw you off their trail. All right, and it's prophesied what? Um, well, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Exactly, and this is one of the ways that Esau. Salakia. This is one of the ways he was able to go into all these other nations and take over through smooth words. Hey, we want to come. We want to trade. And for it's a famous quote, I think. First, they come with the soldiers, and they go to war. Esau, he'll find some kind of reason. If you notice that, he'll find some kind of reason why, he gets rights to invade your country, or, and if he doesn't have one, they'll make one up. And it's coming out with the whole Afghanistan situation, with the whole, Afghanistan war and George Bush, that all of the information that was being fed to the public was a lie. And when people were calling it out, that was a big no-no during the time to criticize the president, to criticize the government based on the decisions. And people were speaking out about it, questioning it, and they were swept under the rug. They were told, look, we just ride with it. And that's what these Edomites do. They know it's a lie, but they ride with it, just like with every other president, just like with the one now. Come out that all the dirt that President Trump is doing, but you got all the people around him. They knew exactly what was going on. They knew it. They knew the whole time. That's how you know who the wicked is. All right, his words are smoother than butter. He'll go to your country. He'll figure out a reason to invade, and then they'll come in. Well, look, they'll appoint a leader for your country. Going to show you they think that they're over you, and then they'll send in. They'll start to send in healthcare professionals and people to hug up on your kid. It's mainly Edomite women. To hug up on your kids and indoctrinate them. And then they come with Jesus, and then they come with, all these different things to try to make it look like they're so high up in the world over you. All right, and that's the MO for this man. This is Isaiah 29:9. It says, "Stay yourselves in wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink." Yeah, and that's what's going on, man. Everybody in the world is staggering. You look at the images of these other nations. Look at them in their nation. They might have a certain spirit, but then when they come over here to America and we see them, and they're over here for a certain amount of time, you start to see that image change. They get out of Esau calls it an ethnic, type of look. They get out of that ethnic look. You're gonna see them in Hollister and Abercrombie and Fitch and tight jeans and the same weird shit Esau puts on. Not Forever 21 because they're going out of business. It's called Hello Yahweh Yahweh Shai, but you're gonna see them in the same stuff. That's part of the wine. That's part of the wine that this man is spreading all over the earth. All right, this is the reasons. This is one of the reasons, because ultimately it's the Most High orchestrating everything. This is one of the reasons why all of these other nations are rising up to try to rival the U.S. China, Russia, different nations, Iran, and all these other nations are rising up because they're tired of that wine. That wine has brought destruction to their country. That wine has brought, confusion and chaos and trying to be on the same vibration of these Edomites here in America. Because, Russia, those are Edomites too, but those are different. They're a little different, and they're ultimately set up to go to war with America, according to the scriptures. All right, they're in those lands that Japheth once was, and then they took over. And that's beautiful that the Most High is going to use Esau to destroy himself. And this is James 5:1, because now let's ultimately answer the question. Because you have to think, if you want to take your empire into somebody's country, of course they're gonna fight you. Of course they're gonna go at you. But if you want to do it, without firing a single shot, what do? You're gonna come with gifts. You're gonna come with money. You're gonna come with influence. All right. There's a reason why people undergo indoctrination because they want the gifts. They want the goodies. They want to, they want all the things, and that's ultimately why Esau has the power. All right, and whoever has the power, every other nation, they're gonna have to become tributaries to that nation. It happened in the past, and it's happening now. All right, in order for this man to go around the world and set up that system and set up this system to keep people indebted, to keep other nations indebted, to do all this stuff, they have to make themselves look as clean and as spotless as possible. That's exactly what Esau did. They used us to build the country. They used us to build the foundation as the hundreds of years of free labor. While these other countries, they got to pay people. They got to do all this good, they have to do business with our people. America got shit for free from every industry, every angle. It's so many people it's so many Israelites who invented stuff, not just Negroes, but there's so many Israelites who invented stuff. We don't even know all of them. we only know a certain amount of them, right? Because that spirit that goes back to the spirit of Jacob. That goes back to Jacob's spirit. All right, so like I was saying, they want to go around and they want to look spotless. But then, what do they have to do? They have to kind of free their slaves, treat them like normal people, because that's one of the first things that's going to come up when you try to assimilate another nation. They're going to say, well, look how you treat, this other nation that's in America, with you. We don't want to come and fuck with you, and what I'm saying, that then you won't have as much access. But now it's kind of like a come and go thing. Other nations, they can send their people here, and Esau, he can send his people to these other nations, and that's exactly what he did. They sent these people to these other nations, and then now corporations, they have a foot into China. They can use their manpower. They can use the cheap wages. They have a foot into India. Now they can get cheaper prices on spices and all of the different products that they make. They have a foot into Japan. Now they can have little technology and electronics and whatever these other nations specialize in. Now they have a bit of a strong bond, and that's written in the scriptures. Let me get that. And this is Revelation 18:5. Ultimately, when this place is destroyed, this is what's going to happen. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Exactly. And exactly. Not just because you're going to have some Edomites who flee the destruction, either they're going to flee underground, Salakia, or they're going to flee to other nations because they know what's going on. The average person like me, you don't have another, a state in another country or some, shit like that. But yeah, these different merchants, these people, because, other nations, they kind of have a ruling class. They send their ruling class here, to learn under Esau, to see how he does things, to see how he operates. And then, they can get the same degree and because they want the same benefits, even though, they're not necessarily on his same social status level here in America. They can take it back to their country. All right, in order for them to do all of that, they had to kind of clean up their image, which ultimately part of that was the mercy of the Most High, which, taking us out of direct slavery, getting your back whipped in or something. But now you're a debt slave, which is just as bad. Now you're a slave under, just as bad. You have to follow this man's rules. You're serving him. You're subject to payments. The scripture talk about we're being subject to payments, and that's something you have to do. You got to pay bills. You got to pay rent. You got to pay a tribute basically to everything you own. for this man Esau. All right. And what does it say? James 5:1. What's going to happen to these men? Because that's ultimately what people are mad about now. You got these damn billionaires. Um, pretty much they own everything. Everything is becoming corporate. You don't even have, you rarely even have a mom and pop, little supermarket or mom and pop little hardware store or something. You rarely have that anymore because everything's corporate. Everything is given to these rich men who a lot of their success, it goes back to slavery. All right. It says how go. Let's see. I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna just jump right to the point. Verse 4, James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Exactly, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down, and that's us. We're the laborers. We're the laborers. So basically, they defrauded the laborers. They took that, they ran with it, and used that worldwide in order to continue to make money. And now everybody's a laborer for these damn devils. All right, the IMF is damn near in every country. The International Monetary Foundation, I believe, it's damn near in every country. Esau damn near has a bank in every country, meaning what? He has business set up in damn near every country around the world. It said, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Exactly. And this man has ultimately lived in pleasure. That's why it's so easy for them to label us as terrorists, to label us as what they want to label us, because they're trying to protect their birthright. They're trying to protect all of the shit that they've done, all of this demonic shit to gain and to get, which they don't even really appreciate it or like it. Now that they have it, but all of the shit that they've done, they want to protect that, and they want this next generation of Edomites to be able to enjoy that as well. And they want what? The next generation of Israelites to suffer and be in the same position, but the Most High is changing the game. With their birth rates, the presence of the truth on the internet. You got Jake starting to realize who they are. They can focus, they can think, and they can take that energy, the spirit being quickened, and they can take that and apply it, and then you use that to be successful. All right, because that's ultimately what we do in our daily walk. We use the words of the scriptures. We use the anointing that the Most High has given, to His sons, in order for us to go out there, and ultimately we have that connection with the Most High. Once you have His name, once you have His message, you have His Son's name. So, hey, Lord willing, this is edifying, but we see through with the devices of Satan. We see through it. We see why he did it. All right, it wasn't because of mercy. It wasn't because they were sorry. It was in order for them to gain more. It was a chess move. All right, Lord willing, is edifying. Shalom.